Welcome back. The anti-vaccination movement is playing a big role in the resurgence of diseases that can be prevented by vaccines. Dr. Holzman and Stacy Anderson are still with us. That's great. So I'm going to go to you, Dr. Holzman. We talked about vaccine hesitancy before the break. How do you move forward with messaging to really get more people to immunize?
Yeah, I like that you use the word hesitancy, because sometimes they put them all into this anti-vaccine movement, and a lot of it is hesitancy. And there's a great article in The Atlantic by Julie Beck, and I've stolen from her, but I think she really does it well to categorize us into 4 different types of people. One, she talks about the complacent. We don't see the diseases around us all the time anymore, so we're not always in a hurry. We're not against the vaccine by any means, but it's like, you know, I can't get to the doctors this week to get the flu. I'll get it next week. And, you know, it just gets put off. And so there's that delay and delay and delay. And so we see people miss opportunities to get vaccinated and be up to date with their vaccines, and see this with children too. The other one would be the inaccessible. And I think that happens in some of the areas that this group goes to, where it might be a long drive to get to a provider that can give the vaccine, or the cost and stuff like that. The ACA has helped with that, but the Affordable Care Act. But that's another reason that people might not get vaccines. So we need to encourage them the importance of that, and also give them ways to try to decrease those obstacles. This next person would be the ones that are real contemplated. I mean, they're the ones that have calculated everything. We call them the calculators. They sit down and go, well, we haven't seen polio in this country in a long time, so while there's very, very little risk, I think I will not get my kid vaccinated because everybody else is vaccinated around them. The wrong problem is if too many people start doing that, these diseases are a plane ride away, and then we do have these problems. The last one is the group that's just completely incompetent. They might not trust government, they might not trust doctors, they might not trust the pharmaceutical companies or whatever. Those people are really going to be hard to switch over, and I will still talk with them and give them my information and listen to them with respect when they come in. But I realize the chances that they're going to change over is probably very little, unless sadly one of their children gets the disease, which we highly hope doesn't ever happen. Or the other area is their friends and families around them really convince them, and that does make a difference. People that they have built trust with and hearing it from them. So it's good for people that even believe in vaccines to talk about the importance to those around them.
Mm-hmm. So clearly the need for multiple messaging.
Multiple messaging, yeah. And a lot of listening, respecting what other people have to say too.
Absolutely. So I'm going to turn to Stacy. You both work for the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. We know that, and I understand that there is a rather famous individual from Montana who's responsible for a lot of what we see positive about vaccines. So Stacy, tell us about Dr. Maurice Hilleman.
Right, so Dr. Maurice Hilleman actually is a native of Miles City, Montana, which not too many folks know about. You know, when we learn about the history of vaccines, he's not one of the names that usually pops up. But he has contributed to the development as well as the safety and efficacy studies of more than 40 vaccines in his career, and has been credited with saving millions of children's lives. He's done his body of work has been very powerful and very positive for vaccinations. An interesting story about him is that he was one of the folks that worked on the MMR vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella. His daughter came down with the mumps, and he was a scientist working in a lab, and so he took a swab of his daughter's cheek and then grew up the mumps virus that she was infected with, and used that virus to improve the preparation of the MMR vaccine. And that strain is called the Gerald Lynn strain, and it's still in the vaccine that we use today to protect our children. And to even make it more of an interesting story, years later, his younger daughter was one of the first kiddos that was inoculated using this new preparation of vaccine. And there's an iconic photo out there of the two siblings, you know, helping each other through that process of getting vaccinated. So we credit him with a lot of the positive things that have happened to protect kids against these diseases that were, you know, terrible many, many years ago. So
another example of a Montanan making a big difference in healthcare, right?
Yes.
Let's switch to Dr. Holzman. So really interesting history. But let's talk about the future. What does the future hold for vaccinations for all of us?
Yeah, I love to see some more studies and some more vaccines come about, because I think they're huge successes. But we're seeing things with new diseases that come forward. We now have an Ebola vaccine that's going through trials at this point in time, but they're actually using it right now in the Congo with an outbreak that's going on there. Hopefully someday we'll get an HIV vaccine. So there's these infections. We now have therapeutic vaccines. This is a little bit different. So the first vaccine that came out like that was the hepatitis B vaccine. This is a vaccine going at a virus, but we know that virus has a big effect on having things like liver cancer, so trying to prevent that, or HPV, trying to prevent cervical cancer, or penile cancer, and other issues there. So we have that aspect coming about. The other thing that we've seen a lot with is some work, and I think Stacy and I would both love to see this, is a universal flu vaccine. So we don't have to try to guess what's coming next year and put the strains in there, but finding an antigen aspect on that we could give once with a booster, and then you'd be covered for flu for the rest of your life. And then the last thing I think is some of the new areas of how do we give those vaccines. We have oral vaccines, we have nasal vaccines, but the newest one that's coming about is what we call microneedles, and it's like a little stamp with the antigens on it, and they just push it on there, and then you pull it back and the antigens stay there, and all of a sudden you start to get a response to that. So that wouldn't be that great not to see your child be screaming and getting those shots and being able to go that way. So that would be awesome.
I will look forward to that day for sure. Thank you both so much for being with us today. And thank you for watching. Be sure to join us again next week. Until then, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for life. With Healthy Living for Life. Take care.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the YouTube icon. Special thanks to Fire Tower Coffee House and Roasters. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.